Hey, I'm Nia Sondaya, and I play Akilah on Yellowjackets Season 2, and this is Pop Culture with Pat. Buzz, buzz.
Hey guys, welcome back to Pop Culture with Pat. So I am so excited to be joined by my guest this week. We're going to be talking all things Yellowjackets with Nia Sondaya. She plays Akilah in the current season of Yellowjackets. Thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Of course. So first, before we get into, all things Yellowjackets, I just wanted to, ask you about what was it that first inspired you to get into acting and get started in the first place?
Such a good question. I think it was a combination of many things. Growing up, my mom did a lot of community theater, so I was with her at rehearsals and stuff. And then I ended up going to the performing arts high school in my city. And basically from there, I just was like, I was like, maybe I can make a career out of this. Like people do this for a living. So I don't know, I got this idea to pursue it, and here I am, and I'm really glad that I did. I just really enjoy storytelling. So
Yeah,
yeah.
and now you're
Yeah.
here, on Yellow Jackets, one of the, big shows. Last when it first came out last year, it was one of my, favorite new shows of the year. So was eagerly anticipating the return. You joined the cast this season.
Yeah.
So had you watched Yellow Jackets at all prior to joining the show? And
Honest,
or you're pretty fresh coming in?
honestly, I was very fresh coming in. So if I'm being honest, I kind of shy away from like the horror, like the darker like TV series and movies. I kind of am, well, scared. So Yellow Jackets, I knew that it was really good. I'd heard that it had a phenomenal cast, and I know a lot of the actors from other things. So I knew that it was a really good show. But I hadn't seen it myself. But the audition came in, and I was like, well, it was like a really good material. So it was really good material. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna audition for it. And so after I found out I was pinned, I was like, oh, okay, well maybe I'll give this a watch. And I remember watching the first episode, and I was like, what have I gotten myself into? Oh, but it's a brilliant show. It's twisty and turny and keeps you on the edge of your seat. So I'm really glad to be a part of it. But I was like very fresh into it, being like, whoa, this is dark.
Yeah, I was gonna say just from that first episode, the premiere, at what they hint at just in that first episode, you're like, oh, okay, like that's where this show's gonna go. So for someone
Right.
that's maybe not as much like into that stuff, like personally, I'm sure, yeah, you were probably like, oh boy, like what's about to
Yeah.
happen here?
Yes.
So once you were cast on the show, did you do, well, it sounds like you watched some of it obviously to prepare, but was there
Yeah.
anything else that you did to prepare to play this character in particular?
So I got kind of caught up in because I know that I was coming in as a recast, and I wanted to make sure that my portrayal of this role was very true to what Kia had laid out in the first season, because I thought she did really beautiful work. And so I really wanted to make sure that I was grounding myself in that, but then finding moments to really add to Akilah and find her voice. So a lot of my preparation work came from studying the first season and looking at what was done with Akilah's character, and really just kind of making sure I was going to like mold it together. So I think a lot of my prep work was mostly like watching and taking notes, and really like I also do like character diaries. So I like will like write my own thoughts, but as the character or whatever, and I just kind of like type up, you know, everything that I can possibly think of that's going through her mind, her thoughts, her feelings about everyone and everything. So I think I did a lot of that before coming in to the show. Um, and yeah, that's what that was. I feel like that was mostly my preparation going in.
That's really cool. I've, talking to a number of guests like over the years, I've never heard of someone doing like a diary like that. So that's a really interesting
It
idea
helped
just to be able to
me.
connect with like your character, I feel like even more.
Yeah.
So that's really cool. Now, so you said, coming into season two, the crew, they've already, cast and crew, they've been together for a year. So just what was your experience, joining the crew? And do you have any fun stories of just you guys like hanging out like in between takes or anything like that?
Yeah. So actually this was a really supportive cast. I was nervous. I was really nervous going in because I was like, oh no, they've all known each other for so long. I was like, I wonder, what it'll be like coming in, but everyone was really sweet and welcoming and supportive. Samantha, Kevin, Alexa, everyone really was just like really sweet. So I had a good time coming in. I just was like, I remember like just feeling so like nervous because everybody was really good. Everybody on the show is phenomenal. Like every single actor. So I really was like nervous and wanting to bring my A game. And I just remember everyone like making me feel at ease and comfortable. And we did a lot of fun stuff as a cast together. A few of us went to Whistler, which is up in the mountains in Vancouver, and we took like a little trip up there together. That was really fun. We did that in like the beginning. So and what else? We went to Disneyland together too. So it was really fun. We did a lot of cool stuff together.
That's awesome. So I mean, yeah, it's always important too to have that like a welcoming cast, especially where you're a newcomer coming onto the show. So it's nice to
Yeah.
hear that from everything I've seen, it seems like the cast, is great. And like I said, I've talked to a couple of you guys. So, but it seems like everybody on the show is phenomenal. So, so that's always nice.
And it also helped that I started, like I was new, but then we also had Nuha, who's incredible, and she's new as well, and Jenna and Maya, who are fantastic. So like us all starting to, well, Maya was there last season, but having us as a group being like new characters coming in and being introduced was really nice. Yeah.
That must, yeah, say that must, definitely help too, having like that kind of having a group and not just being a new character by yourself.
Yes,
So
exactly. Even though Akilah also was not new, she was there last season, but me coming into the role new. Yeah.
Yeah,
Nice
exactly.
having other
Yeah,
people sharing the same experience as me.
yeah. Now, I can't tell you guys how much I love the video of you guys doing the lip syncing to Florence
That's
and the
the girl.
Machine. That such a cool video. I mean, it's awesome that Florence, did like the cover track for the show and everything. What was it like filming that video and how long did it take to get that all put together?
So I believe that was it took like just a day. Like the
Oh, it's not
social
bad.
media crew came in and they set up. And I think they set up in a few different areas, but they just like would have us come in between takes and be like, hey, like whoever wants to pair up and come in and do a verse and just like you come in and you sing. And so it was really easy. Like we just went in, did our thing, and then that was done. I think they just like pulled different people in all day long and then they had the video. And it was really cool to see it back. It is really freaking cool because I'm a huge Florence and the Machine fan. So
So that must have been fun for you, especially.
yeah, being a part of it and having her do the song for the season, it just yeah.
Yeah, you can just see you guys. You can just tell that you're having so much fun. You guys just like letting loose and jamming out, and you guys are like jumping all over the place. I was like, it looks like the energy like on the set that day. It must have just been to blast to get that to put together. And speaking of music, so is there a '90s song that you're really hoping makes an appearance on the show? So with like for me, for example with episode one, and it's not a spoiler or anything where episode one's, out now, but for me growing up, I listened to Papa Roach, and there's a
Okay.
moment in episode one where Jeff listens to Last Resort and that comes on.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just not expecting that. So watching the episode, I was like,
An
what?
iconic moment.
Yeah. I was like, that's so cool. So is there any like '90s song that you would like to see come on the show at some point?
Maybe Easy Lover by Phil Collins. There's like a little plug in there, and I just think that it would be cool. Like it comes up later on in the season, and I just think it would be cool if the song finds its way in the season somewhere. It'd be cool.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
Easy
And
Lover.
do you remember, was there a specific moment where you really connected with your character, whether it was doing a specific scene or just like being on set for the very first time? You don't have to obviously get into like, I guess like specifics, but just like when you really were like, okay, like I really understand this character now.
I think as you know what, yeah, actually. So as time goes on, like throughout the episodes, I think there are a lot of moments where there's like a lot of decision making happening, a lot of arguing, a lot of like, different energies colliding and butting heads. And I think that I really found Akilah's perspective in a lot of those moments when I was like, because Akilah in the first season is really, she's a sweetheart. I think that there were a lot of nice moments where Kia found that she's like innocent but brave, but also like quiet and strong. And so I found that like Akilah doesn't always speak up, but she does have an opinion on on what is happening and the
Yep.
arguments happening. So I found there were like these group scenes necessarily where I wasn't even really having to do much or say much, but I just found that I was like, wow, Akilah's got some opinions about what's happening here. And so I really was like, wow, like, okay, I really do. I found like where she fit in the dynamic.
Yep.
And it was really cool. And it was funny because it was in moments where the moments that weren't about me, but I kind of found these moments where I was like, wow, I'm forming her opinions and her perspectives about what's happening. So that was really cool.
I guess like what was the most challenging aspect of playing this character for you, or what if it's not like if you don't have one for most challenging, what were you most were able to relate to this character the most?
Most able to relate. Okay. Um, so for most able to relate to, I'd actually say that because I know Akilah was JV and they ended up bumping her to varsity for this trip to nationals. And so she was new to this group of girls who were, much older, well seasoned, and are already, a tight knit group. And so kind of felt like that coming into season 2 100%. I was like, okay, here I am with these like really incredible actors, and they're well seasoned, and they're a tight knit group, and they've been working together for so long. So I felt like coming in, I really did kind of have, and it was funny because I felt like what was really important for Akilah this season was to find her voice and to find like her place and speak up. And so I was like, oh, I guess I've got to learn how to do that too, huh? So I really related to Akilah in that way. And I would like to say, like, for challenges, I just think that the show in general, the material that the 90s cast has to deal with, just because of, being stuck in the wilderness, the circumstances, the weather, there's just so many horrific things happening at once that I just feel like the material itself was pretty challenging.
Yeah. Well, did you guys ever have to? Because yeah, definitely. I mean, the show gets into some dark stuff for sure. Like in between takes and stuff. Like obviously, did you guys try to really keep things, light for the most part, just to kind of take a
Yeah.
break from like when you were on set?
Definitely. This is a joking group of people. Like Samantha is always cracking jokes, always like pulling pranks. Jasmine's always tapping you on your shoulder and walking the other way. Like everybody is always having like a good time on this set. Everyone's always laughing. Jokes are always flying. So it's helpful in the in between. It's
Yeah, as I
kind
say, it's good to have that levity kind of like, in between. So that way, you're not just kind of like, all right, well, this is going to be a long day of shooting these really dark, heavy scenes for
of
12, 14 hours or whatever. So now, if you were out in the wilderness
right.
with the Yellow Jackets yourself, instead of being your character, who do you think that you would connect with most and why?
Interesting. When watching the first season, Van, just because I feel like Van is one, such a team player, but also just like such a cool person, like laid back. And like, I don't know, I just feel like they're never involved in the drama. Like
Yep.
they can be when it comes to, I think, defending Ty in other ways. But I don't
Yeah.
know. I just, when watching the first season, I just was like, instantly I connected. I was like, that character I feel like would be the person that I'd be able to probably hang out with the most, probably stay out of drama. Like, yeah, I really enjoy Van a lot as a character, actually.
No, that makes sense. And I mean, Van's definitely a fan favorite character. I know, people are excited to see more of her this season for sure. And I wanted to talk to you about, can we just talk about the set just like overall for the season? It's in the middle of winter for the Yellow Jackets. So what was it like working on that set with the cabin and just all the snow and everything? What was it like working on that set?
A lot of pros and cons to the set. I want to say first and foremost that our crew and like our set decorating team, like they are phenomenal, incredible. Like the set blew me away. Like the first time I walked onto the set, I remember being like, whoa. And I wasn't there for the first season, but everyone kept saying that it was like the cabin is completely identical to the one that they used for the first season, was actually out in the wilderness. And so, but for me, I was just blown away. And for everyone else, it was like the way that they matched it, the snow, the trees, everything. It was incredible. And it was really helpful to have it being on the set because like we weren't, out in the wilderness. Our trailers were nearby. It wasn't actually freezing. So that was, a
That
bonus.
helps.
Definitely helps. But then the cons to it is that we were inside and we were in layers. A lot of us had tons of layers on. And in the cabin, we did have the fire going. So it could get hot. So we were playing cold, but it was really warm a lot of the times. And the cabin, the cabin was really well done, but it was like not the biggest space. So a lot of us like being in there together and the crew and the cameras, it was it was a lot, but we got it done and it was really cool. And it's amazing to see it on screen because it looks amazing.
Oh yeah, it came out yeah, absolutely beautiful and just like you feel cold watching it, just seeing it on the screen,
Yeah.
which is kind of ironic I feel like for you guys because is it challenging to, like you said it was very warm, you have like these jackets on. Is it challenging to make pretend that you're cold when you're at meanwhile you're probably actually like sweating while filming some of this stuff? Is that hard to
A little, yes. And I would also say that there might have been a few moments when I may have forgotten to play cold because I was so warm. And so there were a few of those moments where I was like, okay, whoop, gotta get back in it. Like you're
yeah.
cold, you're chilly. So there, yes, it did pose a few challenges, but I will say overall, I think I do prefer to have it on the set rather than have been out in the actual cold for sure.
Yeah, being out and like actually being out in like freezing temperatures, having the wind like coming,
Yeah,
wind and snow coming down on you guys.
yeah,
Yeah,
could have
I
been
think
worse, you know.
I think I would take that, being inside like on a set like every day compared to
Yeah,
that for the most part.
definitely.
Um, Without going into any spoilers, do you have a favorite overall episode or even just an episode that has a favorite moment of yours that's coming up in the season? Again, without like giving anything away, but just like maybe like a
Right.
favorite episode.
Um, without giving any context at all, I'll just say I think episode 8. Episode
Okay.
8 for me is probably one of my favorite episodes. I think it really there's just a culmination of so many things. It's chaotic, it's heartbreaking, it's so many things. So
A lot
yeah,
going on. Okay.
it, yeah, 8 for
Awesome.
me.
Yeah. So I can't, all right. Then I can't wait to check out. I mean, I can't wait to see the rest of the season, but I can't wait to check out eight for sure.
It's an amazing.
After working on the show, Nia, if this group of people got stranded out in the wilderness as themselves, who from the cast would be best equipped to handle that, do you think?
Interesting. Can and one person or
You could now, if you have a couple people that,
I would probably say Kevin and Liv definitely are going to survive. They just know a lot about a lot of different kinds of things.
yep.
Um, and so I just feel like that's going to get them pretty far. Um, the rest of us, I really couldn't say. Samantha's resourceful, and, and so is Jasmine. Honestly, I can't speak for the rest of us. I really wouldn't know. But for some reason, I just know Kevin and Liv will make
Kevin.
it definitely.
Gotcha. No, that makes sense. And like I said, talking to Kevin, he seems like a very, like smart guy. So
Very
I could see
knowledgeable.
him being, resourceful. And I haven't talked to Liv, but I could see kind of the, the same thing as well. So now I love that the show does a good job of walking the line of if there's something supernatural going on, or is maybe this all part of like the trauma? We don't, really know up to this point. For you personally, do you believe in the supernatural? And if you do, have you ever had any experiences yourself?
Oh, like in real life.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. So I think the show does an amazing job of walking that line of whether or not it can be supernatural or whether or not it's, you know, just the craziness and the chaos of what they've been through and the PTSD. I love that. And I honestly, at this point, could not tell you really whether or not it's just a product of what they're going through or if it really is something, a driving force outside of them. But in real life, I think this is so funny, and no one believes me when I say this, but I lived in an apartment maybe like 4 years ago that I thought was haunted because there were just a few instances that didn't make sense. But one instance was I'd lost some earrings, and it just didn't make sense because I put my earrings in the same spot every single time I come home. And so it didn't make sense that the earrings weren't there. But I was like, you know what? Fine. maybe I misplaced them. I looked everywhere for maybe a week and a half. I looked everywhere, top to bottom, and the earrings were nowhere to be found. And then one day I came home and they were right where they should have been all along, where I checked several times. And so I do think, I know that sounds crazy, but I think there was a ghost, and I think that he took them and misplaced them to mess with me and put them back.
Put them
But
back.
that's my one, and that was like the only time. Like, it was like that apartment, and there were some other instances that were really weird, but we won't get into them. But it was that one apartment only that I felt like there was something else going on.
Hey, no, I'm myself. I do believe in it. I'm into that kind of. I love like horror movies and different things like that. So
Yeah.
I'm into it. When I was, I think it was like a freshman year of high school, we had went to this place. It was like these old bunkers that's by the beach, and we had went there. We had all had brand new flashlights, everything going into this place. We were exploring, walking around, and I remember we got into this one room, and it's all pitch black. Can't see anything except for the flashlights. We got into this one room, and all of our lights went out at the same time, like not even lying or anything. They went out, and we couldn't get them to come back on for probably like a good minute. And then finally, the flashlights all popped back on at the same time. And I was just like, all right, well, I think it's time to head out of here.
Yeah, the ghosts are saying, "All right, yep, you've had your fun. Time to go."
Yeah, well, I was like, all right. So ever since then, I'm like, yep, I'm a full believer when it comes to that stuff. So yeah, maybe you just had a ghost that just wanted to mess around with you a little bit.
I really think so. I don't think it was like, I think it was harmless. I don't think it
Yeah,
was trying to bother me. I think it was just like, like we'll mess with her for a little bit and move on.
I'm just gonna play a little joke here.
Exactly.
Now, what can fans look forward to with Yellow Jackets for the rest of season two? And is there anything else you just wanted to say to the fans in general? And where can fans follow you? As far as the social media and stuff like that goes.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm on Instagram, and mostly that's the only social media that I like really use professionally. Um, so Instagram at Nia_Sondaya. But what I do want to say about the season is that I think fans can expect a very satisfying, wild, insane ride. Like, it's a journey. And I think that what people are looking forward to most about our show, I think that you are going to get a lot of it this season. Um, I'm like so scared. I'm like trying not to say much about any particular thing, but
You're
I
good.
know that fans are going to be satisfied with the material that they're going to get this season, and I think that there's so many good things to look forward to. But it's twisty and it's dark and it's
Perfect.
insane.
It's
That's
I can't wait. I mean, just from what we've seen so far with episode one, I mean, just the premiere itself. And by the way, congratulations on the premiere. It broke records I saw, which is awesome.
yeah, it's
And then
insane.
just having the premiere where you guys went to the premiere, it looks like, we were talking about that a little bit before. It looks like that was, so much fun for you and rest of the cast. So just congratulations. I believe, and I could be wrong in this, but I thought I saw we might have already gotten season three greenlit, and I know they have like a plan where they want to do 5 seasons. So
Yeah.
I can't wait to see what the rest of season two, has in store for us. If the premiere episode is anything to indicate of what we're getting in the rest of the season, like you said, I think we're going to be in for a fun ride. So thank you so much again, Nia, for
Thank
for taking
you.
time out of your schedule to come on here, talk about the show. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. This was great. I had a great time. Hey, I'm Nia Sondaya, and I play Akilah on Yellowjackets season 2, and this is Pop Culture with Pat. Buzz, buzz.